Heroes and Legends, Dynasties, Insuran-Banquron. The Colinia Insuran, allied to the Manican, led by Demeter Colonia, gained allies with the Atlan Insuran. A new Insuran power, who had a smaller galaxy, was led by Angie CG and her commando West, and their new ally of the Atlan from the Universal side was Wim. Wim was a hired mercenary, and they hired him for his skills. He aided them in finding and sniffing out spies who dare would spy within their galaxy to gain intel and weaknesses from the enemies that were numerous across the universe. The colonial consisted once again of Barbara Charlene Colinia, who was now officially Demeter's wife. And along during this time of the 100 years wait, they had a son. The son's name was Hepburn Colonia, and it was on his 18th birthday that the wars had begun once again. And so, in order to help protect their son from harm and danger, Barbara hired a skilled and strong martial artist named Ori to assist in protecting their son against harm and danger. Ori was a strong martial artist within Colonia and trained for many years for such a moment. She was so surprised when the Colonia had came from the dimensions. Finally, work and employment, she thought to herself, as she saw Hepburn being born and witnessed all of it before. And so, Ori protected Hepburn and all his entourage as well. Along with the returning faces of Colonia, we have the brother of Demeter, Junior, this number 2 in the Colonia. Along with Junior was the kung fu artist of the group, Chi, and the young warrior, Jeff, who was still very cool and in his demeanor. He was very acquainted with some of the new recruits that included Lundy, a disciplined man, a complete opposite of Jeff, but who was a strong and disciplined officer, and Ashanti, who was a tough as nails girl. Ashanti had a mad crush on Jeff because Jeff is so cool and she had never ever saw such a cool man before in her entire life like Jeff. But however, Jeff was too prideful and full of himself to notice, and Ashanti wanted to make a name for herself in the fields of battle in order to make Jeff finally notice her. The Colonia's first and only objective during the War of the Universe was to take down finally the Sun Insuran. The Sun Insuran or dimensions were led by 3 powerful female friends that posed a problem for him as they joined up with the Irishans, made it almost impossible. Demeter could never let down such humiliation, but out of the 3 friends, only Portia, the shy one, was left, as she was the oldest of the 3. Portia was now in the Sun Insuran galaxy under the rule of Wesh Sun. He is the boss of the Sun Insuran, and he knows his strength. He was a capable sword fighter that even put the great Crimson Swordsman Baruch to shame. Portia, for her part, was strong, and her powers were often exploited by the Sun officials so they could survive. It was doing this and then campaign that Portia and a host of others pushed back the colonial advance. Portia hated most of all a gal named Dakota. She was an artistic villain who mistreated Portia violently. Dakota was the top artist within the Sun, often drawing and painting marvelous works of the Sun and others. However, when Dakota met Portia, She made fun of her shyness, as she never encountered someone so shy and quiet before. She often mistreated her by calling her names and always hold her down when she would accomplish something. The Marson, the vice boss, who was always armored and with armor placed in orange and its sun symbols that were created by Dakota, always scolded Dakota and said, "You can't do that. Portia is a strong and noble ally, and she is key to our defense of our galaxy. Stop it already." And so for a time, Dakota would back off. But when Portia was alone, Dakota would then torment Portia more. Others they had in their force employ is that of Zane. He is a blob man of high durability. Zane's son had a unique ability to turn himself into a giant blob and could make any shape possible, from a giant ball to a ship, or just completely covering and surrounding his opponents and foes. It is very hard to fight. The toughness of Ishanti, the discipline of Lundi, and the kung fu of Chi could not penetrate Zane. The might of Portia gave Julian and Jeff nightmares of the past, and Tomar's armor was too deep for that of Wes and Wim to penetrate. Demitar was getting furious and frustrated. His men still, after all this time, being pushed back by the Sun, and it seems the Sun Insuran were even stronger than ever, as they had a secret weapon, the Sun Destroyers. These were super ships developed to absorb the powers of the Sun itself and use it to redirect and to destroy their opponents. Many of the Colinia and Atlan Insuran ships that they sent to the galaxy were being destroyed. The Sun galaxy had lots of suns, more suns than usual, and the temperatures in some of the planets were extremely hot and high. But the people of the Sun Insuran had adapted themselves, almost like reptilians, in order to survive the harsh conditions. And so the Colonia was stuck. Although they had another galaxy, the Atlan galaxy, along with them, the Sun Insuran proved to be a formidable foe against their advance. And so the colonial and Atlan forces could not move to attack any other force until the Sun was dealt with.